And of course, as we mentioned earlier, CORD leader Raila Odinga had led a CORD delegation to Malindi police station demanding the release of a member of the county assembly, Hassan Pojo, who was arrested in unclear circumstances yesterday. Now, for details, we're now joined live by our coast reporter Francis Ontomwa. Thank you very much, Francis, for joining us. Maybe you can just tell us, we're talking about unclear circumstances. That was a few hours ago. By now, do we have any other information on why he was arrested?
Well, good afternoon, Betty Okari, and the very latest that we can report from our end is that Hassan Pojo, the MCA from Kwale, was arrested in connection with electoral malpractices, has now finally been released. This, of course, after the petitioning that was, of course, conducted by none other than CORD leader Raila Amolo Odinga, accompanied by Kalonzo Musyoka and a host of other CORD leaders who had actually stormed the Malindi police station to demand and actually question why the MCA was arrested in the first place. Well, he has been released, and of course you're expecting CORD to be having rallies in Malindi town. Aside from what is happening from the other side of the coalition, Jubilee is also planning to have a major rally that will be, of course, spearheaded by the Deputy President William Ruto at the Ngala grounds. That is the latest from this end, and that arrest of MCA had actually sparked a lot of tension in Malindi, but finally he has been released, and of course it's now counting down hours to this high profile by-election that has attracted a lot of interest from several quarters. And what we can also report is the fact that even other smaller parties or other smaller contenders in this race are also conducting, especially they are employing the door-to-door sort of campaign mode, trying to reach out to supporters. And as we another thing that is important to also note is the fact that by now 2 more candidates have actually declared on various platforms that they will be pulling out of this particular race, but IEBC is still confirming that they have 6 candidates on the ballot paper ahead of this by-election, Betty.
Right. Let me take you back to the issue to do with that particular MCA, Hassan Pojo, who was arrested but now released. Do we know if those allegations will be investigated, or is it a settled matter that he did not take part in any elections crimes?
Well, the reports that we're having, Betty, is the fact that this MCA was arrested at his hotel room in the town. What was nabbed from him was a tablet and other essentials, his personal effects. These were some of the items that were taken from him by law enforcers, and we understand that he actually spent the night at the Malindi police station as he was being questioned on affairs around electoral malpractices. But as we report is the fact that a few minutes ago, actually, Raila Amolo Odinga has led that delegation that has petitioned for his release, and indeed he has been released, Betty.
Finally, Ontomwa, let's talk about the campaigns. We know for sure that tomorrow by 6 p.m. there will be no campaigning after that particular time, 6 p.m. But until then, what kind of strategies are being put in place by the different parties in the last-minute campaigns?
Well, it's a high-stake sort of a political contest here in Malindi, and especially the top 2 coalitions, that is Jubilee and CORD, are trying to outdo each other in this coalition after the other, actually trying to diffuse the influence of the other. When one coalition moves from one ground, another one gets into that particular ground to try and diffuse the influence that each is trying to make here in the Malindi by-election, of course. Well, at this stage, because of the stakes that we are seeing in this election, we are seeing high-profile delegations coming from both sides of the divide, and this is just to tell you of how important this election is to either Jubilee and CORD. Jubilee will be trying to make inroads and try to really make a statement that they can actually garner a seat in the perceived CORD zone. While CORD will also be out to defend this particular seat, because they are claiming it is theirs for the taking, given that it was one of their own who had actually held it before before he was appointed to the cabinet by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Therefore, it's a contest that has a lot of stake, that has a lot of interest, and of course attracting all those manner of trials to see that they are able to garner this particular seat. There are the smaller candidates that cannot also be written off. They'll be having, they'll be playing tilting affairs. They'll be playing tilting in trying to to wedge this particular election. Therefore, it's a contest that has a lot of stakes, as we have said, and one that we'll be putting our eyes to see which way.
What would a win, Francis, mean for both ODM and Jubilee?
Well, of course, coming months to the main election or to the next general election, it is an important by-election that will be, of course, having a lot of indicators to look at as we head to the next general election. If Jubilee wins, of course, it will mean that they have indeed started to gain ground in the coast region. We understand that they've already wooed some top leaders from this area to their side. Gideon Mungaro, especially the Kilifi North MP, and the likes of Mustafa and many other MPs have actually shown indications of decamping from the CORD side, and should they win this particular contest, they'll be sending a strong message that they indeed have a space to wrestle in the politics of the coast region. While on the other side, should CORD win this particular election, it will reaffirm their ground, or rather their influence in the coast region, and it will, of course, propel them as they try to make their house, put their house in order ahead of the general election of next year. It's a contest that cannot be written off, or rather cannot be taken lightly. And we also understand that there are local battles also to be fought here. Gideon Mungaro is, of course, leading the Jubilee side, and we have Amason King, the governor of Kilifi, and the governor of Mombasa, Ali Hassan Joho. These are two camps that are also playing out that local battle that we will also want to see which way they take to.
Right. Thank you very much, Francis. That's detailed reporting. Of course, Francis is going to be giving us the latest from Malindi starting today, of course, up until that day when the results will be announced.